The siege of Badajoz in the spring of 1812 was a major breakthrough for Wellington in his campaign to push the French out of Spain. Badajoz, a frontier fortress on the road to Madrid. Here he is, his guns are all round the outside of Badajoz. You can see all the cannonballs hitting the walls here and the castle up there. Absolutely huge bombardment before he put his men into the breaches. Let's see what it looks like today. We're now outside the huge city of Badajoz, massive stronghold, hugely thick walls, and this little fort here is the one that Wellington captured very early on in order to arm it with his men and to arm it with his cannon so that he could shell the city walls.
Absolutely, and this is the decisive point. It's the old invasion corridor, one of the few routes that you can actually get to between Spain and Portugal. All the rest of the border is covered in mountains. So this place is the key to Portugal. And once he'd captured this place, then he could protect Portugal and launch his armies into Spain.
And it was very, very expensive indeed. He lost 5,000 casualties storming this city behind us. It was the bloodiest night, the storming of Badajoz, of the entire Peninsular War.
It's one of the most famous nights in the whole history of the British Army, actually, as well.
Yeah.
The fighting was so tough, so severe, almost 20th century in the scale of its casualties. And the soldiers after that were so angry and overwrought, they burst into the town, and for 2 or 3 days there was nothing but total anarchy in the town as these British soldiers stole alcohol and possessions, and it was complete chaos.
It was an orgy of destruction. Well, here we are, Dan, underneath the Trinidad Bastion on the outside of Badajoz. Right here's where one of the breaches was created by Wellington's cannons, only 500 metres away over there.
This would have been a ditch, a terrifying place, as Brits tried to clamber up here into this broken down piece of wall, and they'd have been lashed by crossfire, by canister shot, muskets up there, and even mines under the ground that were blowing them up. Absolutely terrifying. And when they got into this big breach here, there would have been a sort of primitive form of barbed wire made out of swords and daggers and things.
An early sign here of trench warfare as well at Badajoz. Here we have some soldiers, British soldiers, in a trench they've dug, trying to get closer and closer to the walls of the fortress itself. They use these trenches to give their people who are firing cannons, the artillerymen, more cover, and also to get their soldiers up to the walls of the castle or the fortress without being killed. But now this is the spot where actually Badajoz fell, because here is where, while the breaches are being attacked over there, General Picton was told with his guys to come and attack these walls by ladder.
Yeah, this is the old Moorish castle, by far the oldest part of the fortifications at Badajoz. On the high ground, look out over that valley there, you can control the whole plain from here. And the ladders were put up against here, the French troops pushed them off, all the British redcoats on the ladders pouring down on top of their own men on their own bayonets down there. But eventually one guy managed to get over this wall and charged along, swept off all the French, eventually raised a red coat instead of a flag on that tower over there.
Well, this is the gate to the fortress, and sadly for poor Filippo, the garrison commander, he tried to slam it shut when he heard the fortress was captured. He was too late, because the British troops had got in here, opened the gate, and were flooding into the city. Here's one picture of the most terrifying moment of any siege, when the Forlorn Hope, those guys who volunteered to go in early, going in to try and break through the breach, and woof, up goes a mine fired off by the French, devastating casualties for the Brits. And one man who was very lucky to escape was Edward Costello, and this rather beautiful little memento here is his Forlorn Hope medal, which he won by fighting in 2 of the sieges, Ciudad Rodrigo and also Badajoz. And on the back, the name of the guy who won this medal, Edward Costello, who survived both Forlorn Hopes, incredibly lucky man. But he really does represent the extraordinary courage of the British soldiers at Badajoz.